Well, hello there. It's Blackbeartick again, and if you can probably tell by my voice, I'm a little tired. I actually opted to skip stream today, unlike what I had said yesterday, mostly because I haven't really been really feeling it today. But since I am skipping the Unite stream, I thought I would actually come to y'all about a Unite topic I've been not really hiding my displeasure towards recently, but we're gonna talk about Remote Stadium, and we'll have gameplay this time in the background. So you don't have to worry about that. You can watch the gameplay, or you can listen to this podcast style. You know the drill. I don't think this video is gonna be that long though, because realistically, we're just talking specifically about Remote Stadium, and I guess the new patch and season as a whole. Let's start with the season as a whole. So, when they announced that Remote Stadium was going to be coming back, initially I was just kind of like, okay. That's not like the worst thing. Like, I haven't played Remote in years, right? Like, quite literally. Like, we've had Thea Skyline Ruins longer than we had Remote Stadium, right? So I was just like, okay. So maybe now that I've had experience on Thea for like 30 years, maybe returning to Remote Stadium and seeing how it is might not feel that bad, right? Because if y'all remember way back when we left Remote Stadium for Thea Sky Ruins, I definitely was a hater on Remote Stadium. Despite the fact that I really had no real knowledge in MOBAs or anything like that at that time. So it was just kind of like I was just blindly hating because I didn't really know how to play the game. So I thought maybe when we come back, maybe it would be, better. Turns out I was wrong. I'm gonna be completely honest. Remote actually, I think I might hate Remote more now that I actually know how to play Unite than when I didn't. Especially with us going from Thea to Remote. Remote has all the telltale signs of being like an early stage map in the game's life cycle, right? It's bland, it's boring, there's random variants that really shouldn't exist, like the flipping lillipups direction they travel, whether it's sand or grass side, stuff like that. Blue buff not really meaning much, I guess, like stuff like that. Like it's very weird, and I get it because 500 point mode is also Remote Stadium. The thing is, 500 point mode is practically a new map. Like, it's Remote Stadium, but there's so many different things about it that you can't really even just say it's Remote Stadium. Like you've got farm from Thea Sky Ruins on there. You've got new farm like Flamigo. You've got Reggie Drago, like, you've got different types of objectives, you have different types of buffs. Zapdos doesn't work the same, like, quite literally the only thing that's not on that map is basically Winter Map Mons and flipping Rayquaza. Like, it's not the same, it is not the same game. And it's why 500 point mode has actually been the most fun I've played on Unite in a while now, actually. The only bad thing is that because it's specifically a casual mode, and they don't have an incentive to really try casual modes, it is littered with bot games, and I hate that so much because I've played against humans, at least as a 5-stack, and it was probably the most fun I've ever had on Unite. Like, I'm being completely genuine here. But the bot games, once you know what the bot games are, you know how to abuse and easily beat them. And since it's 500 points, it's very easy to just steamroll them. Like, that is one good thing about 500 point bot games, like, you can end the game rapidly. Like, you're not forced to sit for 10 minutes playing bots, right? Like, you can just, like, roll it, you can just wrap it up in, like, 5 minutes. If you really pinpoint the fact that they are bots, you can literally just bum rush them for 5 minutes and win, basically. But that's neither here nor there. Like, we're talking about ranked mode Remote Stadium, which is the old map. So it's just I don't know. It just screams day one map to me. And it's not very fun. Cause... okay, sorry. It's not... It was never made to have all these mons on it, right? When we played Remote Stadium, over like 70% of this cast didn't even exist. So there are some mons that are completely egregious on it. There are some mons that have gotten buffed recently that we're going to talk about in a minute that have become even ridiculous on it. Like, I ain't gonna say it would be more balanced on Thea, but like it's the small space, the small cramped size of the map really leans into broken things, and it's not very fun. I'll be honest. Like, I would say my fun meter in regard to this map so far, ranked by the way, not 500 points. 500 point mode I've had a blast with. Ranked Remote Stadium as of right now, I would argue I've had about the same amount of fun that I had at the end of last season, where I had my like flipping rant and stuff like that. But it's not full of spite and anger towards the player base this time. It's just boring, and nothing is working properly. Like, the map is not meant for like this map. Low-key needs to be rotated out of everything permanently. Like, kill this map. It is not designed for Unite in its current state. Four speedsters got buffed ridiculously. Absol, Talonflame, Meowscarada, Gengar. Absol and Talonflame already did see tournament play, so, and we're already like pretty good. Like, Absol was quite literally, I think, the most used speedster in comp play right now, outside of like Zoroark and Zera. So maybe like third most used speedster. Zera just recently picked up, and Zoroark has always been like the best speedster for like ages now, like ever since Leafeon fell out of favor. So yeah. So Absol, being one of the one of the group that actually saw a lot of play, you wonder why they gave it defense penetration. And yes, that's a new stat that these four speedsters got. But not only that, they also changed their early game to where they have more like, they're more tanky early at the cost of some of their like damage, right? So long story short, their laning phase doesn't suck anymore. Which, I mean, it's cool. Like, speedsters have always struggled, like besides like Zeraora, most speeds, and I guess to a degree Meowscarada, because it evolves earlier than the other speedsters. Every speedster, and I'm gonna even include like Prime Rapidash for this. Typically had an issue in lane if they were gate kept, right? Because a lot of them just either like evolved at level 5 and needed to hit the level 5 to go online. Absol didn't have this problem because it didn't evolve. Zeraora doesn't have this problem because it doesn't evolve. Leafeon doesn't really have this problem because it evolves at level 4. So that leaves like Rapidash, Zoroark, Talonflame, Gengar, and stuff of the like. So I won't say like, I shouldn't say all speedsters, because like it's more like half of them have the issue. But basically their laning phase, a few speedsters' laning phases suck. They couldn't really do anything until they got online. Now that's not really a problem anymore. They kind of don't care. Like, they genuinely do not care. I've played more lane Talonflame on remote than jungle, and you can get online pretty quickly. Remote also has this weird thing with experience where I swear you get more experience by the end game than on Thea Skyruns. It's not early on. I think it's the 4 Corpuses that spawn in the center. I think those they keep spawning and stuff, and I think there's additional farm on other areas of the map. that gives a little bit more experience than Deus does, because if you're playing right and you're farming, you should always be able to catch level like 12 or 13. I played LD one session and I think I got level 12 every game. And while level 12 was kind of hard to get unless I like purposely went out of my way to farm, my LD is EXP share, so I realistically should not be doing that. But I was able to get level 12 multiple times, so on Remoat Stadium. So there's that. It's really weird. But anyway, back to the speedsters. So they're tankier early game. They actually have a laning phase now. What was I gonna say? So they lost. So these speedsters lost their like bad early game or whatever you want to call it, with the exception of Absol, whose early game is broken as hell. They also made them. I think I said this earlier, but they added defense penetration. So it's just a flat increase. Basically, is a flat increase of ignoring defense. It's not a percentage, thankfully, because if so, it would. I want to be real, we would need an emergency patch. I mean, we already are kind of like bordering on needing an emergency patch. I'm not gonna lie, but like if it was a percentage, then yeah, we would be like completely screwed. But it's like flat. It's like flat. I'm pretty sure it's flat ignore, like flat defense ignore. So at level 15, you ignore 60 of your opponent's defense, basically. Or in the case of Gengar, 60 of your opponent's special defense. And it's noticeable. I think the biggest thing to note is that it makes Mons that already have lower defenses insanely liable to be just like one shot or two tapped. We joke about Mons we joke about like Squishies getting like one tapped all the time. This is probably the only time where I will say like if one of these 4 speedsters is fed, there is an actual real chance that if you're on a Squishy, you might actually get one tapped. Either one tapped or a one tapped combo, like flipping Brave Bird Aerial Ace from Talon or something like that. Or Shadow Ball Dream Eater with Gengar, something like that. Like, the defense penetration matters less the bulkier the Mon is, but attackers already were losing to speedsters. I mean, that's kind of like the role triangle, right? Like, speedsters were always meant to be able to dive backline and stuff like that. The issue is that they said that the defense penetration was supposed to matter less against bulkier Mons. While it's true, they say they would struggle against like defenders. So while this is technically true to a degree, even though the defense penetration is a flat number, it actually ends up mattering a lot more than you would think against bulkier Mons, to the point where you could, against squishier all-rounders, you can literally like 2-tap them. Like, it's really absurd. Some tanks that don't have any like way to shield themselves or like heal can get kind of like, I won't say nuked, because you're never getting 1-tapped or even 2-tapped by a speedster, but you can be bursted down enough to where their teammates can kill you, and that's not really something a speedster should be doing to a tank. Like a speedster has always been a mon to do like burst damage, right? And tanks have always been the mons that kind of like can sustain against them, at least enough to where your teammates can actually like, you know, pick up the kills on them or get them or make them disengage. Right now, that's not really the case. If a tank gets to like 50%, a well-timed combo with any of these 4 speedsters can probably just delete them, or get them very close to being deleted. And that seems really weird because that's never really been the case. Like, Timmy basically said that they were supposed to struggle against tanks, but like, that's the opposite. The defense penetration is not only for attackers, it's for everything. Yeah, it doesn't mean as much against tankier Mons, because it's a flat number, but like, it's still going to matter. Like, it still makes a difference. And the fact that it is a flat number means that no matter what, you're doing more damage to whatever you're hitting. whether it's an attacker, all-rounder, speedster, supporter, defender, or whatever, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that Timmy unsurprisingly messed up on when they made this change. I don't think speedsters really needed any buffs, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I think they were in a good spot. I was already going to pick up Talonflame before this patch, because I think it was a slept-on mon that has a really bad reputation because of how people want to only score with it and never teamfight with it. And now it's completely broken. I'd argue it's literally like top 2 in the game right now. Like, the only mon that I say is better is Absol, and that's just because Absol was not only already super good, Absol was not only super good already, it was already seeing tournament play as like a speedster that you pick up if you want like if you want like a unite with heavy burst, or rather I should say if you wanted early game burst damage with a good enough unite for late game, you would pick Absol. Or if say Zoroark or something got taken, right, then you would go Absol or something like that. Like, it's so crazy that they buffed a mon that was already seeing genuine competitive success. Like, I don't know, it's very questionable. Absol's early game is even better now, because Absol was one of the few speedsters that had like a broken early game, and now it's nigh uncontestable early because of its bulk. Its increased bulk and its like defense penetration. Like, I don't know, Timmy did not think very well. I mean, they're probably gonna nerf the defense penetration. Like, they kind of have to, or they're gonna have to buff the bulk of literally every role in the game, like just a flat out increase to every role in the game. So there's also that. They're probably gonna nerf the defense pen, maybe make it like half of what it is right now. But not only that, speedsters also have this issue where it's like so remember when I said that Remoat Stadium is ridiculously small? Yeah. At any point while you're walking down the map, you are liable to literally just be jumped from a bush and get like 1 or 2 tapped if you're not a tank. Like, I've gotten so many, and I'm gonna call them undeserved kills, because this would not have flown last patch, where I literally just hide in a bush and I just jump in a group of like 3 people with Talonflame, Brave Bird, Aerial Ace, Basic to get another Aerial Ace, and then Aerial Ace again. And I can literally kill like 1 or 2 people if I hit them all with Brave Bird. This wouldn't have worked last patch. Last patch I would have had to at least wait until like the bulky mons split or the CC based mons wasted their cooldowns before I did it, but now I can kind of just do it and not care. And it's even more egregious with Talonflame late game with Brave Bird, because Brave Bird Plus gives you damage reduction based on how many mons you hit, up to 75%. 50% for each, it's additive. So if you Brave Bird into a full team, you don't really take damage. Like, you don't, like, for 5 seconds, you do not take much damage. And it's crazy to think about. Like, it is absurd. Like, it's so crazy. Like, it's so confusing. Like, you buffed this? Like, I don't know. Now that I mentioned, Talonflame already had natural defense penetration on flipping Flame Charge as far as I'm concerned. So it just gets more if you're using Flame Charge Fly or whatever, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know, what else do I want to say? But yeah, so like, it's not open like Thea, so you're just liable to get jumped at any time, even if you have good positioning. It's pretty stupid. Especially Meowscarada. Meowscarada both kind of got buffed and nerfed by the map. There's less grass on this map, because Meow was kind of made with like Thea in mind with all the grass patches. But at the same time, the map is so small that the lessened grass patches doesn't really matter, or the weird formation of grass patches don't matter. You could probably just trailblaze right into a fight from like a far bush and not care because of how small the map is. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But either way, yeah. Remote's not made for like these mons. Yeah, Talon and Gengar and Absol were like day one mons, but they were never this buff. Like arguably they were pretty bad early on. Like, and Meowscarada didn't even exist, nor was it built for this map. Like it was designed around Thea. So we have 3 overbuffed speeches that were not this strong last time Remote was in rotation, and then we have a speedster that's not even like that was designed with the other map in mind. That ironically gets somehow, even despite all the issues, or despite it not being designed for this map, still does good. Because, yeah, the map is so small. I mean, not that it was basically saying you have to be on Thea for it to, like, work. It's just, there's so many grass patches, and Meowscarada's gimmick is being in the grass, getting, like, a buff to all this stuff. It's hard to, like, I just kind of assume that, like, I just literally assume that they, designed it with that in mind. Like, it kind of feels like, it kind of, like, maybe I shouldn't say it's not designed around this map, or rather I should say it's designed with Thea in mind. But, yeah, sorry, I'm, like, rambling. But, holy shit. Sorry, I was looking at something real quick. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So, this map is just boring and too small and stuff. I will say, and despite the amount of pushback I might get from this, I think so. Here's my rating on the map hazards at the end of the game, right? I think Zap is better than current Rayquaza. Now, no, I said current Rayquaza. Rayquaza got buffed twice over the course of Thea Skyrune's reign, and each time the game got less and less fun to play on the map. And because current Rayquaza gives such a big shield, and yeah, if you have a proper comp, you can melt the shields if you're paying attention. But like, in the context of ladder, you're not always gonna have like the perfect comp. And in the case of ladder, you probably just lose if they get Rayquaza with more than like 3 people. And even then, if you're down by Ray, you might still lose anyway, because you're gonna need to make up those like 300, like 100 to 300 points back, and then score some yourself. Which comes to my next point. Rayquaza shields give a 50% boost to your move 1 if you have an attack in that spot, and your basic attacks. So if you're a basic Automon, all of a sudden you are like cracked for no reason, and you can just sit on pad and defend for free, unless you get like death balled. And even then, all it takes is like maybe 2 mons like that are playing from range, and they can't score. There is counterplay, of course, like there are mons that ignore shield, like Tinkaton, Urshifu, stuff, T-Tar, stuff like that. But like, of those 3, the only one that's like reliably like consistent right now is Urshifu. Tinkaton needs to be like kind of fed to do good, and then same with T-Tar. So there's that. So with all that in mind, why do I say current Rayquaza is worse than Zap? So like I said, shielding and all that, it's like pretty much, it's hard to deal with. And the problem is, Ray Shield doesn't go away like the Zap auto score. So if you don't break the shields and they get away, there's a high chance they can literally just collect more points and score again for free. Like, and there's nothing you can really do, because it's just a glorified score shield that literally makes them steroid injected. Like, it's not really fun, I'll be honest. But yeah, Zapdos is annoying in its own way, because auto scoring is pretty, like, it's pretty silly. Because I feel like Zapdos is one of those that it's like, it's weird. Zapdos is one of those that gets more egregious if your home base is open, because at that point you probably just lose the game, right? With Ray Shield, with Ray Shield, home base being open isn't as big of a deal because if you got into that point anyway, you probably just lose the game anyway. But Zapdos quite literally just makes, and even then you can kind of like push them off before they get to home base and break their shields, right? Zapdos, you can't really do that. They just walk in and score. It's not a big deal for the tiered goals because they break, but like home goal, it's pretty bad. Like I will admit, like that and the Zapdos stun is kind of like crazy. Like yeah, you can full heal it just like you can with like Rayquaza Cyclone or whatever, but like if you get hit by it, you are probably getting finished off if you don't have a foil. So I also think Zap is a little bit harder to, since the pit for Zap is so small, there's likely going to be people that are down when Zapdos is taken. Or if you get aced, that's it, right? And you're not likely going to be able to get away. With Thea Sky Ruins, you can quite literally opt to go either counter score or try to go break shields. And you have a wide around, like you have a wide room to actually like fight, right? So anyway, I've got a few more minutes, so we're gonna just kind of wrap this up. I say Ray 1. I'm gonna call Day 1 Thea Sky Ruins Ray 1. Because that was when the shields were like middling and Ray had a lot of HP. To where you pretty much need a team wipe to actually reliably kill it. And even then, you'd probably have to like zone out like 1 or 2 people. In my opinion, that was the best iteration of Ray, and that was better than Zapdos. I think that was the perfect in-game goal. Because even if they got the shields, if they weren't careful, they would lose the shield fast. And I don't think they got the power boost. I think Ray 2? It was either Ray 2 or Ray 3 that introduced the whole like the power up or whatever, which was really stupid because that's the whole reason it's like impossible to do anything against Ray Shield unless you just heavy burst. You have the heavy burst and you don't get called out. But yeah, Ray is like Ray 1, I think if it stayed like that, Thea would have been perfect. It would have been perfect. Like, the map itself is so fun, it's just Ray is, like, so polarizing. Ray 3, I should say, is polarizing. Ray 2 is when they increased the shielding a bit, and they lowered Rayquaza's HP. Again, I don't remember if this was before they added the power-up. I don't think so. I think Ray 3 is when they lowered Ray's HP for Ray 2, and they increased the shielding a bit. Not too bad, again. A little more rewarding for less skill-based gameplay. But it wasn't like the end of the world. Like, you still had to like play the game. It was Ray 3. And I know for a fact this is when we got the power-up for sure. The power-up, the egregiously big shields, and the fact that Ray had even less HP than Ray 1 and 2. Hold on just a second. Alright, I'm back. Anyway, so what I was saying, Ray 3 is when winning Thea Sky Ruins was really just get Ray and you win basically, outside of certain circumstances. I'm not gonna say that I've always lost to Ray getting taken, but it's like an 8% lose rate. With Zap, you can defend, or rather you can make a push, and they have no power up. Like once that Zapdos goes away, if you push as a team, they don't have any random steroid injected power-ups. They don't have supercharged basic autos. They don't have supercharged move ones. Like, they are fighting you vanilla. And that's the one thing I do like about Zap. Like, yeah, like, that is why I think Zap is better than Ray 3, specifically. Because, like, it's the power-up. Like, the power-up and the shield value is the issue that I have. And Ray 1 did not have that, and Ray had way more HP. That's why I say Ray 1 and 2 are better than Zapdos, but I think Zapdos is better than Ray 3. Simply because your opponents don't get a flipping Hail Mary steroid boost just for having a shield. A steroid boost that Timmy themselves did not mention, by the way. We only figured that out in that Ray 3 patch was because of data miners and people testing. They didn't say anything about that. So basically, they quite literally added a way to basically make Ray auto-win the game almost, and didn't tell us. If we didn't have data miners, we would have never known this. And that's what makes me, and I'll admit it's a little bit of bias, but that's also why I give Ray 3 more shit than Zapdos. Because they literally hid this detail from us, because they knew what the reaction would be if they put in the patch, oh, well now Ratio also gives like a boost in power or whatever, right? Like Ray also gives like a boost in power in your move 1s and basic autos. Like, why would you make Ray Shield do that? The shield was already... Firstly, the shield is already gigantic, right? Like, you need at least 2 people on one person to actually break the shield or have like heavy burst, right? But then to put in a power modifier that basically makes it to where defending against them is hard and pushing against them is hard. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why? Firstly, why have that mechanic in the first place? And then secondly, why on earth would you literally not? You don't tell us about it. And this is the first instance of Timmy doing something like this that made me really think that, wow, they really just want random casuals to get Ray and win the game. Like, they don't care about the competitive integrity. Like, it's so stupid. Like, why are we doing this? Like, why are you putting a power-up on a shield that is already gargantuan and on damn near half your HP already? Like, that's the thing. Like, if they had told us about it, I probably would have less ire towards it, because at least I know that they understood what they were doing. But no, they hid it from us, and we only figured it out because of data mining. Like, if you were going to do, I just don't know. Like, Ray 3 literally is probably like the worst thing that happened to this game. And it's the only thing that makes Day of Sky Runes feel like not very fun sometimes. It's just like, I don't know why. Like, I hate when like developers try to make the game easier for players that aren't as good. Like, it's annoying to me. Like, just like make them learn the game. Like, we already have a problem of people not knowing how to play the game. Like, you are literally babying them. Like, that secret Ray Shield buff was literally them babying bad players. That's always why, like you wonder why I say, like, you might wonder like why I have an outlandish take like that, but like that's why. That's pretty much why. Like, that is my reasoning for shitting on Ray 3 specifically. If we go back to, like, if we ever go back to Thea, my wish is that they revert it to either Ray 2 or Ray 1 stats, and they get rid of that damn power boost. Like, they do that, and Thea might be the most fun. Like, I might genuinely have fun with Unite, like, overall again. Like, truthfully. Either way, the remote only lasts for, like, 12 more days, so it's more of just a matter of what are they going to do after these 12 days? Are they going to put a new map after 3 years? Are they going to bring the 500 point mode to ranked? Either or, I'm good. I'm down with it. 500 point mode is fun, and if it's ranked, then people will actually play it. And I won't have to be fighting bots every 3 game for every like other game for 2 games. And if it's a new map, great. But please don't make the final objective made up to be babying casuals. Like, make it swing the game in the people's favor that actually got the objective. Fine, that's fine. But make them still have to work, is what I'm saying. Like, if there's one thing I do like about, and I said that earlier, like, if there's one thing I do like about Zapdos, is that they don't get a power-up, right? They get auto-scoring on your goals, but that's only for, like, what, 20 seconds? Once that's out, it's fair game. As long as your teammates group together and push, and position properly, they can push bases. They don't have a giant shield on top of their base shielding as well. Like, they are vulnerable. So, I don't know what's in store, but truthfully, I don't think I want any part of Remote anymore. I mean, I'll play it out because I need to get my the whole skin and the battle pass. But I think truthfully, once I do, I'm going to possibly break for the rest of this little like mini season, and then when the 12 days is up, we're gonna see what they have in store for us. And then depending on what they do have in store, I may either drop the season immediately or I'll continue playing. So that's my thing. I just kind of wanted to rant a bit. Yeah, I just wanted to rant a bit. So that'll be it. I'll see you later. Peace out.